Hey guys, so today I'm going to be covering how to make the chord stack from Riot's track every day.
Yeah.
As you can probably tell, this is a very huge chord stack, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 14 to 15 layers. So before I show you guys how it's made, I can first of all show you how it sounds like. So yeah, these are the chords. Okay, so just saying, this is probably the most proud I've ever been of a chord stack ever. So let's start at the bass section. So first of all, we got just a normal sub. And if you're wondering how I make it hover like this, I basically use an LFO tool like Riot did in the original track with this specific shape, so it hovers at 1/8 notes. I basically apply that to all of these. So on the bass I pretty much layer the saw bass. And that is made of a massive patch, a saturator apparently. Doesn't sound like it does too much. And a dynamic tube. Okay. And then LFO tool again, and then just some EQing. I think this is just a saw with some white noise, yep. And of course a B-tube. And together it sounds pretty sick. Okay, so let's move on to the synth. So for the first layer, this is pretty much what it sounds like. Just the same chords as the ones from the build-up. So that's basically just a serum with some filtering. And don't worry about this is just for the build-up, so it just like... Before I go any further, I'm just gonna show you guys this quick thing. So what many people have been asking me about is how I made the whole chord stack like bend like this. So it like pitch bends. As you can see, I have just a pitch bend with -2. So every time the chord stack like changes, I just pitch this down. So if I click on this, you can see the automation. So it goes like that. Then just do that for every chord. And for the second layer, I've added this patch, which just has a ton of white noise. And I think it's basically just the same patch as the last one, just to simply make it sound more full. And then we have the third patch, which is like low pass sauce.
I got habanero sauce up my nose.
Almost the same as the previous one, just with some slight low pass. And then over to the fourth layer. So this is where it starts to get interesting. In the serum patch, I basically got basic shapes with 16 unison, some detuning, and then 3 unison on a standard saw with 1 octave down. And then we got some normal saws again. And as you can see, I've kind of low passed everything here. So, and then the fifth layer sounds like this, which kind of gives the chord like this hit at the beginning of every chord. So it just adds a cool effect, I guess. This is what I've done, just the same patch as the previous one, but then I added just a low pass with some cutoff and a lot of resonance, so you get that sweep. And then next I've added this, which is just some really soft chords. I don't know what to call it. So this patch basically looks like this. This is the wavetable you can find in the digital thing, along with sawtooth, I think that's what it's called, I don't know, triangle, whatever. And this time I got some delay and reverb to add more ambience. Next up I got these. Hold on, I gotta freeze this freaking tracks, holy crap. Yes! So yeah, these chords are made like this with double unison on 16, and this is 1 octave up, so you get those higher notes, some white noise as usual, and this time with square waves actually. So the next sounds like this. with very sharp detuned saws.
Habanero sauce.
The patch looks like this, and as you can see, I've detuned it pretty tightly, so it doesn't sound as detuned and wide. Like this. So it sounds more like sharp, you know. Okay, so the next one is basically just super basic saws with both delay, EQing, and reverb. This is a preset that I like to use because this is basically just a filler for the mids, I guess. And next up we got a contact, which I've actually used some volume automation to remove some tails and stuff. So these are just some trumpets. So these are just session horns in contact. And you may be wondering, how do I get the pitch bend sound in contact if the pitch wheel doesn't like register correctly? You could just use the pitch thing in here, but I didn't do that because I didn't know at the time. So instead I used a plugin called Pitch Wheel, which I put to 3 semitones in range. And then I just modulate this knob because I basically just use this to pitch this. It doesn't really sound as fluent as the other synths, but that's okay. So the next one is gonna be one of my favorites in this whole stack, which is the trombo, which is the brass. Well, I gotta freeze this. Jesus. Finna die DX. My life is a mess. And yeah, I also used the pitch wheel here, which sounds pretty sketchy in my opinion. I guess it's because it has like the reverb, and then the reverb from the last chord like joins in on the pitch, and then it sounds pretty odd because you pitch 2 different chord stacks at the same time. So yeah, if you're wondering what I'm using here, it's just a brass ensemble from Contact, which is, in my opinion, the best brass ensemble out there. Then I just got some random vocal clip, which sounds retarded in my opinion, but I just kept it, I don't know why. I mean, it doesn't really sound nice either, but I don't know. So in the second part of the drop, we also got some cool like ARP. Which gives it this nice ambience. It's basically just a massive with a saw wave because I didn't bother using Serum because it takes up too much CPU just for a little ARP. So I basically just added some OTT and some ping pong delay with these settings. It's actually the exact ones that I used. And then I got just an EQ cutting away some low end. And then last but not least, there are some pads in the background, which are from Riot, and they sound basically like this. So these are the exact ones that he used in the track because he was streaming like back in 2016, and I basically heard what pads he was using. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it all up on how I made these chords. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in my next video.